Yeah. Okay, everyone, welcome back. We are basically just gonna pick up from where we left off last class. Let's just start out. Did everyone basically figure out everything from up to the end of last class? Are we feeling good? Are there any more Git issues, weird things going on, anything? If anything, put your hands up now and some instructors will walk around to come help you. Was homework 1 already due? Okay, homework 1 was due. Sorry, isn't it tonight? Homework 1 is due tonight / is already due. So in theory, hopefully we are at a good place to actually just keep going forward with this. All right, so just as a quick reminder, last class we talked a little bit about how to initialize Git locally on your computer by using git init. And then we also looked at some basic Git commands that we use every single time that we are trying to update our local changes onto our GitHub, which is our remote repository. And those were specifically git add and git commit. Can anybody remind me what git add does? Yes.
Add your project staging area.
Lovely. So it adds your project in a staging area, or basically tells Git, hey, I want you to look at these files and keep an eye on them. So it's basically starting to track your files. And then can anybody tell me what git commit does? Yes. Lovely. So what git commit does is it saves your changes locally. It's kind of like hitting a Control S on your progress on your local system. Okay, so now we kind of finished the stuff that happens locally. You made some changes, you get added, and you get committed them. Now our next step is how do we put them onto GitHub, which is our remote repository. Just to recap, a repository, you can think of it like a folder. It's just basically one that is either, if it's local, it's on your computer. If it's remote, it's on the internet or GitHub. All right, so first things first, everyone should have made a GitHub account. So let us open up GitHub. Also, if you have already worked through these slides, you do not need to do them again. I'm sorry, this is going to be a little bit repetitive for you, but feel free to either listen or get started on other tasks if you want to. Okay, so everybody have GitHub, have an account, have it open? Yes? Feeling good? Okay. So once you sign in, you're going to see a box with a plus sign. Click on that plus sign as it says on the slide. And then we're going to do something called create a new repository. What that's saying is you're just creating a Git folder. If you have done homework 1 in theory, you should have a Git repository, I believe. I think. I'm not 100% sure. No? Okay, that's okay. Never mind.
Wait, you did do homework 1. You should have a Git repository.
Yeah, because you should have submitted your homework on a Git repository.
Your homework submission should be okay. I know we.
Is that homework 2?
We did
the first homework.
Okay. Never mind. That is for homework 2. So this is going to tell you exactly how to do homework 2. Thank you. Okay. Don't panic. Homework 1 has nothing to do with this part. So this is telling you how to do homework 2. If you follow along right now, homework 2 is going to be really, really quick and easy, and it shouldn't take you too much time. Okay, so we're going to click on this tab that says New Repository. And then you're going to go to the section that says Repository Name, and you're just going to give it the same name as the folder that's on your computer that you just made last class, or whenever you made it. So whether it's like Python decal fall 25 or Python your name, whatever that is, just make sure the names match. So in Brianna's case, her folder was named Brianna, so she named her repository Brianna. Please make sure they match. Take a second to check your local repository. Are we feeling good? Are we able to create a repository with the same name? Okay. And then you're just going to go scroll all the way down to the bottom. There's a couple of options here. It'll say things like make it public or private. For the purpose of this class, you're going to make your repository public because you're going to use it to submit your homework. The difference between public and private is just that. Like public means it's open on the internet. Anybody can look up your GitHub and just use that link to see all your code there. Private means it's private to you, so you're the only one who can see it. And then it also says something where there's an option to add a README file. A README file basically is like a text description of what's in your repository. If you ever go down like a GitHub doom scroll, though I don't know if people really do that. Charlie? I've also done it like twice. I did it once for Aaron Parsons, and then yeah. Sometimes people write really cool code and you want to know what's up with their code when you're using it. This might be really helpful for your final projects, which we'll introduce in a little bit, but sometimes you'll find really good reference code and people write good documentation telling you what it does. That will all be in the README file. You can create one if you want. You don't have to. It is just a text file. For your case, you can be like, this is for my Python decal work. Cool. And then okay, it says another new window will open after creating your remote repository. Did a window pop up for people? Yes? Okay. So now we have our wonderful remote repository that we just made on GitHub. We have our local repository, which we made on our computer. Our job is now to connect those together. So the way we're going to do that is by using something called an SSH link. So if you guys go onto that new window that just opened up when you created your repository, you'll see these different options. You'll see HTTPS and SSH. Click on SSH and copy that link, just like, yeah, like Control C there. And yeah, make sure that you're using the SSH link and not the HTTPS link. Super important, use SSH. Is everybody able to find this little link? If not, put your hands up. People will come around to help. Put them up high. It's okay. No worries. We just want to come help. Okay. Cool. I'm going to keep moving. Okay. This is just telling you to copy the link. It happens every year, but there's always someone that copies the wrong link. Make sure it's the SSH link.
Yeah, this does not always pop up just automatically. All you have to do is select the green button that says code, toggle the like menu thing to say SSH and not HTTPS, and then copy like that. It should kind of look like that, but you'll have to go through the intermediate step of clicking a green button that's
yes, there will be a little green button in the top right corner of your screen. So it's either that or this. Hopefully you see one of those two. Make sure it starts or ends with .git. Sorry, it starts with git at GitHub, and then it's going to be your username and your email that you use, and then ends with .git. So this is just telling us, hey, on your GitHub, you created this repository that's associated with this account and this name, and I'm now going to link that to my computer. So this is what I'm using to do that link. Okay, now let's open up your terminal again. We're going to CD into your repository, the local one that has the same name as this remote repository. So everyone take a second to do that. I'll give people like half a minute. Okay, everyone in their repository. I want a thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs now. Do we need a little bit more time? I feel like I'm not getting many thumbs. Okay, lovely. What we're basically going to do now is type in exactly this. Git remote add origin. Don't type in enter yet. Just type in this. What this is telling your computer is, hey, I'm in this local repository. I now want to make it link to my GitHub as a remote repository. So that's basically just saying, hey, I'm going to add or like create like this origin of a Git remote repository, please don't press enter, just type in these words. Okay, do we have these words? Then you're going to paste that link that you just copied off of GitHub to the end of that statement. So what this is saying, I'll just break it down, is, hey GitHub, hey local repository, I have this GitHub remote repository that I want to link to my local repository. So I'm just going to activate my remote repository so it like links with my local. And this is the place that you're getting it from, the Git at GitHub, whatever your username, account, whatever it is. This is the location that you have to look to find that remote repository. Does this logic make sense to people? Sort of, kind of? Okay. Well, yeah. Again, make sure it's a SSH URL, double check, and then hit enter. Don't worry if nothing shows up. That's fine. If something shows up, you might have an error, but if nothing shows up, you're good for right now. Now what we're going to do is check to see that the two are connected. The way we're going to do that is use this command, git remote -v. What that does is make sure that it like basically checks the connection between your local and remote repository. Okay, so once you hit enter, you should see something that looks like this. Is that what people are seeing? Yeah, okay, lovely. What basically this is saying is you see origin, which is just saying, hey, this is a Git remote repository. And then it's saying this is your repository, which is your SSH URL that you copied in. And then you're going to say, it's going to say fetch. And that's basically, we'll get into this a little bit later, but that's where the save branch is. And then you see push, which is basically where when you commit your changes, that's where it goes to that save. So that's kind of the components of that message, which is wonderful. So now our local and remote are connected. Yay. But if you open up your GitHub now, you're not going to see anything there. It's still going to be empty. That is because we have not actually pushed any files or information from our local to our remote. So we're going to do that. So like I kind of mentioned a little bit last class, sometimes you can do this thing called branching on GitHub. You can make like different, think of it like a tree. You can make different kind of pathways for different versions of your code. In our case, though, we are not worrying about branches. We just want everything on our main branch. We're not splitting it at all. So you're going to call git branch -M main, because we want to make sure that all the changes are going to that branch. Make sense? Cool. Then we're going to officially save or push our changes to GitHub for the first time. Now you're going to type git push -u origin main. What this is telling your terminal / your GitHub is, hey, from the local repository, take all of the changes that I committed and put them on my remote repository. Make sense? Everyone was able to type in this? Can I move to the next slide? Yes, there's questions. Okay. Can people help with errors? Thank you. Any more errors? Put your hands up if you're having errors. Okay, I'll take a second of a break so we can figure some of these out. So you don't have any commits. So that's just because you haven't actually seen it. Is there anything in your Okay, so that's why. Basically, there's nothing in your folder. And so the way it works is you have to put stuff in your folder, you have to add them, commit them, then only you can push it.
Okay, can I put it?
Oh, yeah, that's just what I'm right now. Okay, you can use the drag and drop it.
But yeah, so the reason is basically you're understanding it. So you're not able to push anything because there's nothing that GitHub is tracking. The ones you
These slides like available.
yes, they're gonna be all. If you guys don't have anything in your folder yet, you're not gonna be able to push because there's nothing in your folder. So just be aware of that. If you have nothing committed, you can't push anything. Yes, what you're gonna have to do is basically what's happening, just like basically what's happening for some reason is happy sometimes you're GitHub and actually don't link to your. Oh, okay. So make sure to drive. And then do that one. Okay, that's actually. Okay. Another thing, I'm just gonna kind of yell out some common errors in case people are having these. If it says fatal and it shows you that your username or email is not recognized, it'll give you 2 lines of code there. Just copy paste those lines into your terminal and fill in your email ID and your username and try again. Sometimes GitHub just can't recognize who you are from the SSH.
You just come out door, bro. So,
yeah, that.
Oh, like. I don't think it's bad to just like GitHub and stuff. So let's do like.
No, because I already. Okay, and I'm gonna leave it. And then try to input. No, I like just got here and I was like, oh, okay. Okay, basically I did. That's like my main thing today. Yeah. Okay, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So but it can be cross product and to cross product of 2x2. I was just thinking about it.就那些就是他我也告诉你，还是可以跟咱多接触来。我是你说第一行就是要不来， 那假如你插上完美放的话，哦，我理解了，所以它可以先练习一个 place filler，然后到时候成本来就想哦，我理解了，还得可以类似于一个那种 placeholder。Yeah, I think has the have Windows. Oh,
Yeah, I like. Yeah, it might be good. So. I guess it'd be like, oh. It's just like.
you wrong.
Oh yeah, I got that. Just there. I see it's.
We should mention it.
I'm not interested in how they're. You already do the setup on that? Yeah. Okay.
Same question. It's specific, they would actually. So that's why. Yeah. I'm good at any of it. I remember when I went to college. That's what it's. Oh, you just. Yeah, she's I knew that because he's going for so I know. It's so good. There's some like speculating about them.
If some of you are still dealing with questions, we are going to continue coming around to help, but I'm going to move forward for the rest of the people that are able to get here. You're good. Okay. Now you're going to be asked to type in your SSH password. Note that nothing will actually pop up when you type. It's going to be blank, and that's just because, you know, they're like, oh, privacy. So don't worry if you don't see anything, but you should type in your password and hopefully you remember it. If you don't remember your password, I don't think there's a way to recover it. So you're gonna have to kind of start and set up a new SSH, unfortunately. So make sure you save that password somewhere. Okay. No, now the slides are in. Okay. So then after you type in your password and hit enter, you should get a message that looks like this. Hopefully this happens for people and that works. Yes? Lovely. So you don't really need to know what it's doing. It's basically just being like, hey, I recognize this person. I recognize that this folder and the folder that are on my remote are the same thing. And so they're connected and I'm going to start, I'm going to create the link between them. Okay. So now, if you go back onto your GitHub, like on the website, you should see, you can hit refresh and you should see your homework 1 folder. Yes? Okay. Lovely. So that is kind of the initial rundown. Now that you've done this SSH linking once, you never need to do it again. So don't worry if you're like running into errors, you're never gonna have to do it again. But you will have to primarily remember some of these key takeaways. So this is kind of a helpful diagram. Sometimes that helps my brain to understand what's going on. First, you have your working directory, which is your local working directory. That's where you're saving your code files that are in progress. To go from your local working directory to your staging area, you use git add. Git add basically tells GitHub, hey, look at these files, put them in the staging area. I made changes that I want to save. To go from the staging area to your local repository, you do git commit. That's like hitting a Control S. You're saving it to your local repository. To put it from your local repository to your remote repository, you use git push. 3 steps, pretty simple once you get it set up. So I know it sounded like a lot this first time, but you're going to practice this once again on homework 2. And hopefully after that, it kind of becomes second nature just to do these 3 steps over and over again. So you never have to worry about that initial setup hassle ever again, unless you're setting up a different repository for yourself. But in that case, you have all these slides, you have the beat courses, you have the resources you need. Yep, so this is what we were just talking about. This is what I would say is the most important takeaway that you're actually going to be using from here on out. So git add, where you're adding everything by using a period, or git add of a specific file. Then you commit it. You make sure you put in a commit message telling yourself, basically your future/past self, or your past self is telling your future self what you did there. And then git push origin main, which is saving and pushing all those changes onto your remote repository onto the main branch. And then for any kind of debugging, if you're confused about where you're at, if you're getting errors, you don't understand them, first step, git status, because that will tell you what's going on. Second step, git log. Git log kind of gives you all of the past commits and what was going on with them. So those will both tell you, probably give you a good idea about what your error is. Okay, And yeah, so from now on, you will turn in all of your homework using your GitHub. So the way that's going to work, homework 2 will walk you through it, but basically you're going to submit the link of your GitHub into Gradescope, and that's how we're going to get your homework. So you basically have to follow the add, commit, push, and submit your homework every single time. Okay. Katie. Yes, we can switch. Now we're going to practice.
Okay, sorry for all of the switching and back and forth stuff. If you forgot my name, I'm Katie. So yeah, we're just gonna do a little bit of practice with Git in the terminal. So the first thing is gonna be just think to yourself and discuss like these questions with the people around you. And then we'll just go over it all together once we're done with that. Once you we're gonna open your terminal. You're gonna go into your directory, and then we're gonna create a new file, do some really basic math, and then run the file. It should be pretty straightforward. I think we've already kind of done it a couple times. For running a file and then printing it, we're gonna be using Nano. So yeah, should be pretty chill. So we're gonna CD. I'm not Brianna, but I'm gonna be Brianna for this lecture. So we're gonna open up the terminal, go into your name terminal using CD. And then, yeah, I already did that. Call the pwd command, which is the print working directory. And then we're gonna see what's inside that directory that you're currently in, which should be your name directory. In this case, Brianna, call ls, should be your homework 1 file. Oops, sorry. And then we're gonna create our new file that we're gonna test right now, which is gonna be nano test.py. Which you should have. Okay, so you can skip. I always do the touch command just because it's a little bit more straightforward. To me, nano just means reading, like going into that file and actually typing something. You can skip that step, but it does get a little bit confusing. Both do the same thing. Okay, once you're in Nano, it's gonna look like this. It should be black and green, and you should be able to you can label the top of it, but regardless, your file is still gonna have the name that you gave it. So in this case, it's test.py, and then you can just type out print 5 + 5, and then save. For Mac, it should be Command S. Windows, it should be Control S. And then you can close Nano, which for Windows, I believe is Control X. And then once you're back into the terminal, you can call it again, the file with Python 3, and then run your file name. So in this case, it's going to be Python 3, and then test.py. And once you hit enter, it should print whatever's in that file. So in this case, it's just going to print 10 because 5 + 5 is 10. Okay, so now that we've made that file and we've run it and everything, we want to be able to save it. So this is just kind of what we were going over. We want to git add, git commit, and then git push. It's going to be the same order every single time. And then sometimes if you have your SSH key as well, you're going to have to enter your password after you git push. So first, if we're only wanting to add this specific file and not update everything, we're just going to do git add test.py. And then git commit with a flag. The little -m is called a flag. It's just telling Git that it's a message. So in this case -m is for message, and then a short description of what you're doing. So we're just adding test.py. And then we're going to push. And that's it. Those are the 3 main steps. If you got those down, then you can do Git. And it should pop up with a couple little messages saying you were successful. And this is the part where if you have an SSH key, it's going to ask you to put it in. And then you'll get all of the messages that you were successful and you're on main branch and everything is good. Is everybody okay with that? Was I going too fast?
Just go back
Sorry.
to when you put in test.py, like when you go into the new that one. So I just hit
Problem with adding the file to GitHub.
Okay. Do you think, Miriam, do you think you could help him?
So I was able to add test keyword here, but I didn't compose one the keyword.
It should be.
Yeah, I did on my own. So, so yeah. Yeah. Like my terminal.
So this isn't like trend.
Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you guys are all good with adding test.py and everything. Thumbs up, high in sky. Okay, I'm gonna keep moving just because we're already pretty behind. So if you're not being worked with, if you could stop talking. Okay, gonna keep going on. Once you're done with everything, that's what it should look like. And then once you refresh Git on your computer, it should pop up there. For Macs, it might pop up with the little like DS file. Don't worry about it. It's just what Macs do. Okay, and then that was the end of Monday's lecture. So we're gonna move over to today's lecture. Veronica, can you?
Yeah.
How do you move it? I don't know how the thing works because I don't know Brianna's computer.
Oh, I'm just like, I was just like.
I don't know. No,
This is a terrible setup. I really hate not.
I know, like the non-mirror.
I know. Okay, so moving on to today's actual lecture. We're gonna go over VS Code. It's just a discussion, so it's also pretty chill. If you're troubleshooting with Git, don't worry about it. You can catch up pretty easily with the slides posted on B courses. But we're basically just gonna run through some review with VS Code, the terminal, command line, data types, and GitHub. And then we're gonna cover a little bit about directory trees and file paths, which we already kind of know a little bit about, but I want to clarify some things. Yeah, homework 1 is due tonight. And then the late due date is going to be in 2 weeks. There's no penalty. So if you're just a little bit behind, that's okay. I know the homeworks are pretty chill right now, but I really, really strongly do not recommend getting behind. We all took this class and I was one of the people who got really behind and it wasn't fun because then you have to do like 3 homeworks and the final project at the same time. And those last few homeworks are no joke. So please do not get behind. And if you do, come talk to one of us and we can catch you up. Okay, homework 2 was released and then it's due next Wednesday, yada, yada. It's all posted. Okay. So you just want to think to yourself and then talk to the people around you real quick. Just kind of discuss what the 3 commands that allow you to save your code through GitHub. What does the command git status do? And then if you were going to evaluate these in Python, what would they print, true or false? And then at the very end, just list the data types that you know. So just talk to the people around you real quick about the answers to these, and then we'll go over it real quick. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Give me a second if you can get somebody else because I have to lecture. Okay, I'm gonna move on just because we really don't have a lot of time since we got behind on Monday. So the first one, or the three that we just went over, so it's gonna be git add, git commit -m with your message, and then git push origin main. We're gonna get into branching. You can technically just put git push right now because you only have one branch. But once we get into branching later, you're gonna have multiple different branches, and you're gonna want to specify that it's the main origin. Otherwise, your files are not gonna be happy. So yeah, just take note of that. And then for question 2, the command git status, it shows the current state of your working directory. So if you're having any problems and Git is throwing you some really weird messages, you can say git status, and it's going to tell you where you are in your main branch, whether or not you have any changes that need to be uploaded or files that aren't tracked, and how many commits ahead or behind you are of your main branch. And then for these 3, not too bad. True, false, false. Don't need to say much about that. For 4, the data types that we know so far, an integer is an integer. Float would be anything with a decimal. Dictionary has the curly brackets, and then a tuple is unchangeable, and it has the normal parentheses. Okay, so going over some review. VS Code is just basically Google Docs, but for coding. It's open source, and it just makes it really easy to edit your code instead of having to do everything in your terminal. It also has pretty fun colors, and it has a lot of helpful messages. So if anything is ever underlined or something, you can hover over it, and it'll tell you what's wrong with it. Yeah, you use it for a lot of homework. Okay, and then kind of the more powerful tool is going to be the terminal, which is a more direct way of interacting with your computer. That's where your command line is. There it is. And then your percentage symbol basically just means that your terminal is ready for code. If it doesn't have that and your cursor is all the way to the left, that means it's still running code. Here's some common commands. Sorry, I'm not going to go over it just because we're pretty short on time. Python 3. So Python 3 allows you to go into either your Python editor in your terminal, or it allows you to run a file in Python. So anything ending in .py. So like the file we just created, test.py, you would want to type in Python 3 in order to run it. Okay, so like we did before, we went over 3 different data types. A string is anything with quotation marks or the apostrophes around it. You can use either or, they just have to be matching on both sides. And also, I know we said before that strings are inherently words, which makes sense, but you can also have an integer that is around, like has quotation marks around it, and it is still a string. So you want to keep that in mind when you're parsing through data, because you can have a bunch of integers, but your computer might read them all as strings because of the way the data was loaded. And then an integer is just a number by itself, point blank, no quotation marks around it. And then the last one is going to be a float. That's anything with a decimal. Doesn't matter where it is. If it has a decimal, it's a float. Okay. And then finally, just to catch this up real quick, GitHub. So we created 2 repositories last class / this class. The local one is the one that's stored on your computer locally. It only exists on your computer. Your remote repository is going to be Git, which is what you push to, and that's why we do the git add, git commit, git push. Okay, that's what it should look like on the left. Okay, so it is possible to go onto the Git website and change things, which makes it a little bit easier if you're having issues on your terminal or something isn't working. You have 2 places to check on Git, but you have to be careful because if you make a change on your remote Git repository through your browser and you try to push to it again, they're not going to line up. So Git only really works if they line up perfectly, if you're on branch main and you're not ahead in your commits. So if it's not lined up, you're going to have to pull from your repository, which means you're going to have to basically map it onto your local repository. And the way to do that is git pull origin main. Like I said, you have to put origin main in this case because We're going to add branches later, and you want to make sure you're in the right place. And we're going to go over more about that in the future, but just keep that in the back of your mind in case you run into that error. Okay, now down to the questions. Just discuss these with the people around you in a second about what this little diagram to the right is, what the tilde / means, what does the / after desktop and downloads and pictures mean, and then why is this last one dog.png not in a green box? Go, discuss.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to keep moving just because we do have to catch up. Okay, so the first one, this little diagram is going to be a directory tree. Basically just shows you a visual representation of your file path. The second one, what the tilde / is going to be your home directory. So if you open up git bash or your terminal, that's basically what it should open to every time. If it doesn't, come see me. The third one, the green box means that it is a directory or folder, and that's what the / after the name means as well. And then this last one doesn't have that little green box just because it's a folder and it's not a directory. Okay. You're going to want to create a directory tree for your Python decal directory. I'm realizing you guys, I'm guessing, don't have paper on you, right? Okay, well, just think about it, I guess. Actually, what you can do is go into your terminal, cd into your Python decal folder, and then cd into your name folder, and then cd into your homework 1 folder, and think about what that path would look like if you did it out like this. So your top one would be your Python decal folder, where it says desktop should be your name, and then the last one should be your homework 1 folder, and then dog.png should be your homework 1.py file. And then probably all of your screenshots and everything if you've done homework 1 already, which hopefully you have. Okay, if you were to write an absolute path from pictures to downloads, it would just be a straight path. So the shortest point from A to B is just a straight line. So it would be tilde / downloads, or if you wanted to do a relative path, so going all the way back up to your home directory and then back down to downloads, it would be 2 dots / 2 dots / downloads. And those 2 dots basically just allow Python to go back up one directory. So instead of doing those 2 dots, you could just type out your home directory / desktop / pictures. Or you could just start from your home directory and do / downloads from there. So basically it's like a waterfall. You have to go back to the top and start again. Okay, so more questions for you to think about. What's the difference between a local and remote repository? The difference between Git and GitHub, and how you use Python on your terminal. Talk about it for like 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry, we are gonna run out of time. If you guys could just pay attention for 2 seconds. Like we said, local exists only on your computer and remote is gonna be on GitHub. Git is basically just a version control system that tracks the changes in your code over time. GitHub is the website that hosts Git repositories online. So it's kind of like the remote for Git. And then for the last one, how do you use Python in the terminal? Python 3, file name to let you open the file or run it, and then Python 3 to just let you type in Python in your terminal. Okay, that's going to be it for today. We did not finish it again, but if you guys want to look at it at home and just go through the exercises on your own, otherwise I'll make a little post about that and you guys are good to go. Have a good day. Oh. Yeah, see ya. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you. Have a good one. Yep. And it's our
That's my dream job.
Yeah, in fourth grade, they asked me what I wanted to be. I said, "Oh, we were wireless studies, so the same thing." And then I don't want to be a fire station. Like I can.
Yeah. The lecture engagement.
Oh, the engagements that Lisa mentioned on it.
Are you going bowling?
And also just like in general.
Read that ass.
I'm asking.
When what?
It's at 7.
Where?
Corey?
Ugh. Is it just an info session?
Yeah.
Like, I probably should. Hold on. Okay, this is finally.
I'm thinking of going, but it means that for the next 2 hours, I gotta